tweet out now that I've spammed, and I put it in the Frog Pants channel as well this time.
Okay, you did. I was about to do that, but
I will retweet.
Wait, I don't see it in there.
In the self-hype, I thought.
No, where? We show up in it for announcements. Wait, self-hype? Where's self-hype? Oh.
Self-hype.
All right, I never thought I'd say this, but what's with all these damn clothes in my Twitter timeline? I need the podcast tweet.
I just stole yours and pasted it in announcements.
Okay. All right, Heather, we are live, so if you want to let the chat room know.
1 second. I sure will.
Okay. That one's done. All right.
Hey guys,
Oh,
we're
that was-
live. Let us know when you can hear us or see us.
Yeah.
Or is it just us?
Could
That's
be
okay,
just us.
too.
We could be talking to, yeah.
That's okay. We
Yeah.
record this stuff.
I know, exactly.
Whee!
All right. Woohoo.
All right,
All right.
so going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
Clans with benefits.
Goody goody, BlizzCon is coming.
Man Pub Fun.
Sybil's STO update.
And Hoots is here to talk to us about AIE and EVE Online.
All that and more coming up now. Welcome to episode 284 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alea Octa Est gaming community. The Die Has Been Podcast. I'm Makala. To my left, okay, he's not really to my left anymore. He's actually downstairs and to my right. In any case, is Tatsumi.
I have another spreadsheet just for tracking Argus to see where my alts are. I have a problem.
You need help, sir. And to my virtual left is Mew Cow.
Greetings, gamers, and I think I'll steal that spreadsheet.
Good idea. And I think I'm going to try to not steal Tatsumi's gin cocktail there. This week, we are joined by our special guest, Hoots, who's here to talk to us about AIE in EVE Online. Welcome, Hoots.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Thanks so much for coming. So, we're going to start with you since you're our guest. What have you been doing, sir, in and out of game?
So I don't live in actual reality anymore. I live in virtual reality all the time now. This is a nice little, and they're not new, but when they had that summer sale for the Oculus Rift and the two touch controllers, I was like, well, it would be a crime not to purchase this, right?
Right?
That's not true. Man, that was a dumb impulse buy, but I love it. It's great.
Can you sell them back for ISK?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I guess I could sell it back for cash and then buy cash for Plex and play Eve. But so I did play Res Infinite the other day.
Oh.
And for those of you that are not familiar with Res, which came out, did that come out for the Dreamcast?
No,
ages ago, or was that?
I only remember it coming out for the PS4 when it launched.
PS4. So there was Res Infinite, I think originally ages ago, not Res Infinite, or original Res, came out, I want to say, for the Dreamcast. And then it was re-released on Xbox Live Arcade for the Xbox 360. That's where I first played it. And then, it's out on PS4 for the PlayStation Home, but now it's also out on PC for Oculus Rift, and it's pretty great. So that's what I've been doing.
Awesome.
Virtual reality, or like playing virtual like games that are compatible with the Oculus Rift, but weren't really made for virtual reality. Like I played Subnautica a little bit, and I decided, well, let's just take the cursor and spin my character round and round and round and round as fast as I can.
No.
So this is now virtual reality puking. Oh my! So do you
Right.
actually?
Well, no,
get
that's
real
physical
virtual
reality
or
puking, because I was like, let's see if this actually makes me sick. And so, I literally like 20 seconds, I'm like, nope, I'm done for the night. I just my evening. I'm an idiot.
When I look over, and depending on what Ted's doing in any given game, if there's weird, even looking at that makes me sick. So I can't even imagine it in your face.
Yeah, no, I would not recommend. That's real bad.
0 out of 10 would not recommend.
Yeah, also since I've last been here, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but I bought a Switch and then played
Oh.
Zelda for like 120 hours over
Right.
the
Yeah,
past,
because that absorbs you.
4 months. So that's literally been my summer and like my gaming outside of Eve.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right. Well, Ted, you mentioned your spreadsheets. What have you been doing in and out of game?
Oh, a whole lot of WoW. It's the 7.3 patch dropped to go explore Argus, and honestly, there's enough there to keep one character busy, but trying to get a lot of my alts through it. I think what's happened is, and Blizzard has this time just about right. I ran through most of my order hall resources on my alts, and this week is the bonus: do 20 world quests and you get an additional 5k order resources. Well, just doing the 20 world quests gets you, if you have your character, your follower with you tagged right, gets you probably another 5 to 600 or 5 to 6,000 order hall resources. So I've got those characters now restocked. So I'm slowly getting them through the Argus story and doing the 20 world quests. So that's why I had the spreadsheet just to mark, okay, they're in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and they need to do the world quests, and they need to get their followers to either 900 or now 925 and apparently 950 after that. So yeah, there's a lot to do in WoW, even with one character. We also raided, and we got Kill Jaden down to 6% before we wiped. We just ran out of people.
Yeah.
Because we went into what is it, third phase after the darkness?
Yeah,
and we had
darkness,
I think we had like 5 people down. Had we had those 5 people up, we probably would have made it, but it just...
That's what got it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to work on that and hopefully get them down tonight. We did lesser invasions as a group and then the greater invasion yesterday. And I picked up a 9-item level 930 belt, which was an upgrade for me. And then some of the other folks that were with us got stuff as well. So that was fun. The new dungeon opened up. It's fun. Like I said, there's a lot to do in WoW right now, which is why I have zero time for anything else except for the few hours I take and play Breath of the Wild on the Switch when when the daughter's available and she wants to sit and watch. So
when she wants to guide you through it, since she played it already.
No, she's very good. She'll sit there and be an actual she'll be the fairy that's like, hey, listen. Hey, she'll actually be one that helps, not one that just tells you the obvious.
We want to swat around. So Mew, what have you been doing in and out of a game?
Well, besides the aforementioned rating, also some of the heroic rating, where we're not quite up to Kill Jaden on heroic yet. We're still battling with some of the stuff before, because man, is it harder on heroic.
Just even that one-headed ability can just totally screw you up.
Oh yeah. The thing that we're tripping up on right now is I believe it's what is it called? The one where it's the host. The host is tripping us up.
Is that the one they just nerfed?
Possibly.
Didn't they just nerf something on host?
It could have been, but the hard part that they added is that the ads on the top side, once they get to 50%, they get a bone shield, and for about 2 minutes, they are at 99% damage reduction. So
Right.
the spirit side has to then bring that shattering scream, that the little line that goes to the person.
Right.
You have to bring it over. You interrupt, and it shatters the bone shields. Well,
Okay.
so they stagger the ads, so there's not always
Right.
creeps up when you need the bone shield shattered. So that's always fun, waiting 2 minutes for that shield to go down so you can finally kill the stupid things. So
Right.
yeah, that's not fun. But beyond that, I've actually been spending probably most of my free time playing Destiny 2 that
Mhm.
came out last week, and on the PS4. And that's been really enjoyable. They definitely improved a lot from Destiny 1, and I did finally finish the campaign, which was a lot of fun. And so that's, honestly, I'm looking forward to playing it on the PC, because yes, there is a small AIE community in the PS4 version of things, but I know that once it's on the PC, we're going to have tons of people. I mean, there's already
Yeah.
tons of people just waiting. So, it's all the strikes, all the raids, all the stuff that you need, people for, because everything I've done up until now, I've done solo. It's all solo content. But now I'm
Right.
at the point where, it really would help to have a full stable of people to play with.
Awesome.
So that's been my focus. And obviously, just doing little bits here and there in Final Fantasy 14, lots of digging in dirt, growing plants,
Cool.
that sort of thing. And we'll talk more about that later.
Very cool.
What have you been up to, McCullough?
So most of my gaming now actually, like old school ways, involves dice.
Dice and
Curse of Strahd-
podcasting.
I'm doing a lot of both. Our Curse of Strahd game, we kind of keep getting postponed due to real life stuff. The DM having a bachelor party last week. The week before that, there was one of our guys was traveling. And it's only a 4-person game, so if one person's out, we make the decision, hey, we're gonna call it.
Right.
So that's kind of on pause right now, but Wednesday we're gonna be playing most likely. There's a group I play with, AIE, actually, with SJ and N and Undata. A lot of fun. We're dealing with one with the Mountain King, and we just got to the Eye of the World, the Eye of the World, and my poor half naked, half elven sorceress is freezing because
Right.
there's snow. And we now have a giant companion whose name sounds like it's hashtag. It's funny. We're not going to talk about Friday. Let's just say tentacle arm broke the world. Oh crap. And my weird World of Darkness curse might be over. Maybe not.
Oh, and we finished up the City of Mist campaign.
We did. We finished with the City of Mist campaign, which we were doing with some friends of ours from work, which was a great time. Poor Tet was a true believer, and this paladin lady was trying to talk him into sacrificing himself. And it was Halloween night, and there were zombies. Okay, I was controlling the zombies, but
And I became the guy with the golden gun, so that was fun.
it was yeah. So in that game, we called Tet the Ginslinger because his character has a lovely edge to him, and because we're actually playing at home, Tet will have sometimes more than 2 cocktails, so it's hilarious because by the 3rd, he really becomes the Ginslinger.
It helps you get in character. What?
It
No.
it does, which is why I sit around and I talk like this. I'm all gothy,
Right.
and I really don't like people.
That's why you hang out with the dead. Anyway.
That's why I hang out with the dead, because I don't like people. So that's what I've been doing, and oddly enough, a lot of that does involve AIE because we happen to game with a few AIE members.
Yep.
There you
Yep.
go.
do.
All right, so we're going to be digging into Eve shortly, but first, let's cover this week's news.
AIE.
News.
News. All right, well, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, Destiny 2, and we have a Destiny 2 clan set up. Hop over to the forum thread for information on how to join and discussions of the clan benefits and weekly caps you might be hitting to try to advance the clan. And I'm sure just that general AIE Discord channel probably gets a little more information there too.
Yeah, but part of it is that there is a PlayStation Communities app, as well as the website itself, that has its own little chat wall that people have been
Awesome.
discussing back and forth. And yeah, we definitely want more people in there because the more people that are playing, the faster things level.
The better benefits and all of that. The more filled with benefits.
Yeah.
All right. And in WoW, as we mentioned earlier, more news. If you have not already purchased the virtual ticket, if you've not already purchased it, the virtual ticket and the goodie bag that people attending BlizzCon are going to get are both available on the BlizzCon gear store for the BlizzCon 2017. If you're going to BlizzCon, you have a ticket, you get the bag when you get there. But if you're doing the virtual ticket, like Ted and McCullough, you'll have to spring for the goodie bag separately. Good news is buying the virtual ticket gets you $10 US off the price of the goodie bag.
We're getting the goodie bag, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Gio.
So
it's
I have a real dumb question, since I haven't followed BlizzCon like in a couple of years. But like, have they sold the goodie bag like separately, like in years past, or is this the first time they're doing? Okay,
we've gotten the goodie bag before.
No, they used to get it with the virtual ticket. This is the first year they're selling it as a separate item where you can buy just the goodie bag even without the virtual ticket. But if you just want the goodie bag, you can get that by itself. But if you buy the virtual ticket, you get $10 off either the $45 version of the bag or the $75 version of the bag, because there's a bag upgrade. As with anything,
okay, all right.
As with anything Blizzard, so
it's basically just double the stuff.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
And I know, like, that is a kind of good, like, if you have two collectors in the same house, we're not gonna have to worry about buying two BlizzCon virtual tickets because they both want this stuff. Luckily, I tend to let you have most of it unless something really great in there that I want. And you get the 2 man anyway because I'm pretty.
And along with the virtual ticket, when you get the virtual ticket, or if you have the physical ticket and you're going to BlizzCon, you get 2 mounts, one for the Horde side, one for the Alliance side. They are smaller, 2-person,
Ooh.
2-person flying mounts. They're smaller versions of the Alliance and Horde gunships, and they look amazing. They're fun to just drive around and shoot people, virtually shoot people, because it doesn't actually do any damage. And you have to use /mount special to do it. But yeah, they're fun. They both look really good. The only issue is with gnomes on the Alliance side. They have the same size problem they have with the other 2-person mounts. If you look at the gnome, it looks like a 3-year-old sitting in the passenger seat of a SUV.
Or me in a vehicle.
No, I mean, it's even smaller than you in a vehicle. This is like a 3-year-old in an SUV,
Yeah, because normally mounts have to scale to the size of it, but because this is a 2-person mount, it has to be as big as the biggest character.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So it's scaling for a Draenei sitting in it. And so the gnome looks like a child, sitting in the front seat. So yeah,
maybe that's working as intended.
Yeah, that might actually be a feature, not a bug.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Also, if you do get the physical ticket or buy the virtual ticket, they're putting up a ton of content specific or exclusive to the virtual and the physical ticket holders. So I showed some of the videos to McCullough. There's
oh my gosh, the archive. I want to go to the archive.
There's a whole there's 2 videos right now with the archive. The first one is with Mike Morheim. The second one, I don't remember who the interview is with. Oh, it's one of the statue makers, the guys that make the statues and what they donate and how they do it to the archive when they're done with the casting and stuff like that. It's amazing. Those 2 videos are exclusive. There's also one with Samwise, if you like his art and stuff like that. There's one that's exclusive to the ticket for Samwise. And then they have some other content that's available for everyone. So honestly, just for that alone, it would be worth it. But the other thing that they said that they have solved this year is stage, including the new stages, the actor's voice studio, the behind the scenes, everything is being recorded and made available on the virtual ticket holder. They listen to us. They listen to all the complaints from last year.
Yeah,
everything.
Because honestly, being a virtual ticket holder, you know there was so much stuff that you were missing just seeing people's reactions on Twitter,
Exactly.
talking to friends of ours that have been there. And yeah, even if you're there, you can't see everything at once. However, it'd be nice to at least, if you are there, have the ability to see what you missed. And for us that aren't there, be able to have the maneuverability to see what all's going on and not just, hey, my focus isn't this tournament, so let me see what else would be happening were I there.
Yep.
Right. And it's even if you're going there, they're going to show on the virtual ticket stuff, behind the scenes stuff that even if you're there, you can't get to, behind the stage and other stuff like that. So yeah, they really made it, I think, worth it this year. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Also up on the game store, do you like in-game pets? Do you like helping people in need? Well, Blizzard Charity Pet is available for order now. Normally they do this in late November, early December. But because of the recent hurricanes and floods worldwide, not only in the US, but also over in India and other places, they are selling the
Mexico,
pets for $10.
All of it.
Earthquake in Mexico, the $10 US, and that gets split evenly between the American Red Cross Disaster Relief and the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. So that whole $10 gets split. That tax has to go to Blizzard to pay their US taxes, but the whole $10, and that's good through December 31st. After that, it's no longer a charity pet, but there is more information on the store page for that. So
awesome.
A lot of Blizzard stuff coming up. So
it's a lot longer than usual too, because normally it's they announce the charity pet like in the beginning of December or the end of November or at BlizzCon. Right. So we have what, almost 2 months extra for all this stuff to go to charity.
Exactly. Yep.
Very cool.
Yes.
And now into SWTOR news. We have SWTOR Escape Podcast 210 all aboard the party train. This week, Seema and Max the Gray and Astromech EPC 210 walk through the new Stronghold and talk about unlocking, decorating, and using it, which was a lot of fun to watch because it's a very interesting Stronghold, as of course they talked about on the last time they were with us. Then on to Escape Podcast 211, Trader Talk. That week, Seema, Max the Gray, and Astromech EPC 211 head on down to Spoiler Town and talk about Umbara Trader Talk. Episode 211 is a really good listen if you've already been through the latest story beat. It is absolutely chock full of spoilers, but presents many different angles and interpretations of the story, as well as a good discussion of what challenges BioWare faces when allowing players to make hard decisions that will end up removing companions from the campaign, which is a big deal. I mean, those are always the points when in the story and I'm like, well, crap, I need to take about 5 minutes to think about what's going to happen now.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the problem is now with their storytelling, they're like, okay, so we're going to tell this story, but some of the players don't have this companion anymore, so we can't include them in the story. Or, if they do, they have to include another companion that other people may have. And there are a lot of companions that are still missing if you've played through the content. So it's tough. What was interesting about this particular, part of the chapter is the interaction with the trader, depending on how you took over the Eternal Throne and how you've been essentially managing the Eternal Fleet, you do get very different reactions, especially if you have the people that have romanced the character that turns out to be the traitor have additional dialogue issues because so
yes, I'm still behind a bit, so that's why I haven't been able to listen to this episode yet. But it's one of those things where now that I've caught up on Destiny 2, maybe I'll actually be able to jump in there and continue again. Because I want to say a couple weeks ago I caught up to at least get all of the throne stuff out of the way, but then I have to go back to Iocath, I think.
Correct.
And that was the confusing one where it didn't actually have a breadcrumb. You actually had to go over there and stumble around. And talk to a computer console or something. So
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But a good night to do that will be during Mandatory Fun Night. It is going to be on the Republic side this week, and the next expansion update is slated for October 10th. So you'll have to wait until then to see what is going to happen from the latest chapter stuff. So. Yep. And then on to Final Fantasy XIV. So patch 4.1, The Legend Returns, will be coming out in early October, as soon as they're comfortable with giving us an exact release day. Of course, the part we are all waiting for is the opening of the new residential area next to Gugane. It's a neat little Asian-themed area.
Oh, pretty.
Yep. Oh, it's gorgeous. That's why we've been salivating, because they let you preview it, but you can't buy anything yet. So.
Of course, yeah.
The producers have shared a few more details on how housing transfers will work once the new patch is live. Those with an existing home do not need to give up their homes beforehand. Awesome. Yeah, it's a big change. Usually you'd have to actually like abandon your home or sell it, because that's gray area. You don't want to sell it to someone. You're supposed to abandon it and then you're ready to buy a new one. Instead, however, you will be able to transfer your home to the new plot, wherever it may be, whatever size it may be, and still keep all of your fun items that in the past you weren't allowed to pick up. So it's sort of a huge deal. Right. That includes the mailboxes. For some reason, you can't transfer mailboxes. Once you plant it in the ground, it's stuck there. That's it. You're done. The stables for your chocobos couldn't go with you. The aetherite crystal, like all kinds of like really cool stuff, couldn't go with you. You couldn't pick it up and take it with you. So they've finally said, now just transfer your stuff. And, anything that, like if you go from like a large to a small, they'll put it in storage for you so you can figure something out until everything's all situated.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's nice of them to do that finally. So they've been listening to us. We've been asking for something like this for a while now. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. The other bonus is that you can now apply 30% of the purchase price of your old home to the new home. So you're basically not throwing away your old home anymore. That's kind of why that whole gray area of selling your house happened, is because people didn't want to lose the money they put into it.
Right.
So now it's not really a big deal anymore. And so if you paid $6 million, then you're going to get, what is that, $2 million? Mm-hmm. About $2 million, close to it.
1.8 million.
Yeah, if you want to be exact. But yeah, it's great. It's, we're all really excited, and we have several of people with home buying abilities in AIE, and they're all going to be ready to stock the spots we want, so we can get that giant faction manor house we've been all eyeing.
So Final Fantasy Real Estate Edition is what I'm hearing.
Definitely.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. And we have
Final Fantasy, the land grab.
Yes. There we go.
Oh,
never huge. Never start a land war in Kukanani.
Pretty much. Yep.
All right. And we have Captain
Kukanani.
That's why you get your chocobos. Anyways, sorry.
Right.
Sorry. You guys have the best names in Final Fantasy, though. They're fun to say.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of fun to say, we have Captain Sybil's Star Trek Online News Summary for the week ending in 9/17/2017. Celebrating Star Trek's 51st birthday. Dang. Z Films, the official Star Trek video trailer producer, released a video as a tribute to the franchise. See all versions of Enterprise in their awesome splendor from 1966 to the present. Visit the Star Trek Online website for viewing. With Season 14 launching on October 18th, an additional backstory beyond the Nexus has been posted to the Star Trek Online website. The story provides yet another lead-in to the new season. The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine fans will love this one for sure. A Beyond the Necklace? Wow. A Beyond the Nexus mission was currently released on September 12th, which will be unlocking the unique weekly replay rewards over the next 3 weeks. Week 1 rewards are featuring tech upgrades and the first piece of trilithium-laced weaponry. The STO website has all the details. Following centuries of conflict, the Lukari and the Kentari peoples began efforts to reconciliate differences and become partners in creating the Drinu colony. Season 14 makes this colony available as brand new fleet starbase to customize and upgrade. Of course, see that website for details. And great news, captains! You no longer have to be intimidated by the overpowered Romulan scimitar dreadnoughts. New Allied fleet deck cruisers have been released for all factions on the Sea Store. These cruisers are easily the most powerful attack ships ever devised. The juicy details are also on the website. And speaking of new ships, right, guess what? Sheer coincidence, because this never happens. This weekend there's a 25% off Starship sale in the Sea Store through September 18th. There is a new science ship, a dreadnought, or even the new flight deck cruiser that's on your list. Well, make that grab now, kind of like the land grab in Final Fantasy. This weekend also marks a bonus weekend event through September 18th. Earn an additional 50% more marks on any missions awards upon completion. And as always, AIE's fleet base is looking for contributions of material and personnel. Once again, check out the news, backstories, patch notes, goodies on the Star Trek Online website, StarTrekOnline.com. Until then, Captain Sybil says, live long and prosper.
And in Guild Wars 2 news, the Path of Fire releases on Friday, September 22nd. That is the new expansion that opens up Alonia and the new elite specialization and mounts. For more information, we've included guild links to the Guild Wars 2 website.
All right. And with that news, we're ready to get back to Hoots and find out what's going on in Eve. So, Hoots, what is going on in Eve?
No.
Okay.
Full stop.
All right, guys, the show's over.
Show's over. See you later. Have a good
Hoots
one.
on for like 3 months. 3 months, and now he's not even talking. Anyway, what's going on?
Where should I begin? So,
at the beginning.
The beginning. We're not going to know that we don't have 3 hours.
It's not a 7-hour show,
right?
Okay.
So,
Have you seen my Citadel?
Right, yeah, dude, where's my Citadel? That's probably exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that
I think we have a show title.
Title, right? We'll get there in a little bit. A couple of months ago, I guess at this point, again, I don't even remember the timeline anymore. I probably should have double checked before putting it into the show notes. But
right.
Essentially, when summer started, maybe a little bit into summer, right around, I think, the end of June or so, our alliance, so we're the corporation, AIE Iacta Est, we're in a great little scrappy, punches above its weight class alliance called Blades of Grass. And then Blades of Grass is in a larger coalition called the Guardians of the Galaxy Coalition, trademark pending. I'm
awesome.
Sure.
Well, you throw coalition on the end, it's fine.
Right, exactly.
It's satire at this point. You're good.
Or anything like that.
Yes.
But yeah, so we live in the north of EVE Online, so to speak, space north, right?
Where all the good stuff happens.
Where all the good, well, where at least some of the good stuff happens. Okay. We'll get to that in a bit. So it was summer. Summer is usually a slower time for, I think, video games. And in EVE, people, like the college kids are home and not logged in playing EVE. People are, outside enjoying the weather, those sorts of wonderful and beautiful things, right? But right in the middle of summer, a little group that longtime members of AIE might recognize the name of, a group called Test Alliance, please ignore.
Boo!
Boo! No, Test is great, and you know what? They're a little zany. But AIE used to be a member of Test Alliance, please ignore. But Test Alliance decided that they were going to have some summer fun, and they were going to deploy to a region of space called Paragon Falls, right next to another region of space called Venal, which is right next to where we live.
Okay.
And they started making, so Test Alliance is a Reddit alliance, and their major corporation formed from Reddit, from the subreddit r/Eve. And so they made some chest-beating posts on r/Eve saying
that never happens on Reddit.
Right, exactly, because that never happens on Reddit. And basically it was like, Guardians of the Galaxy Coalition, you're on. We're gonna bring it, and we're gonna shoot all your stuff and make your life miserable. And that lasted for a couple of weeks. Our coalition, and then combined with another group of people called, kind of, I guess you could say, the Pandemic Family. So it's a group called Pandemic Legion, and then sort of their newbie organization called Pandemic Horde. We all kind of banded together and basically formed like 3,000 people in like a system on one of Test's like timers, and basically made it so that they couldn't contest anything. So that was really disappointing for Test, that we decided to show up in like a lot of overwhelming numbers and not give them any real foothold in the region. So that happened, and there was some additional drama on the subreddit that I won't get into, but right
because it's a
around the
family-friendly
time,
show and it's Reddit, so yes.
yeah, and it, yeah, right around the time that Test was maybe thinking about going home, or maybe thinking about staying and making life, like trying to keep at what they were doing, another group in EVE Online called Goon Swarm Federation, which again, the perennial big bad guys of.
Okay, there's the boo. There's the boo.
There's the boo. You might remember last summer, our corporation and our alliance played a small in in kicking Goon Swarm Federation out of their home where they lived.
Right.
We live now. So naturally, Goon Swarm having taken like the better part of a year to rebuild, decided this summer we're going to bring the hurt, and they made a bunch of posts on their forums.
Chest beating, right.
We're going to bring the hurt, and we're going to burn the North to the ground. No one will stop us, right?
Right, all right.
Test at the same time then decided, well, we're not going to go home. We're going to stick around the North and not kind of work with Goon Swarm, but not really work with Goon Swarm, but just shoot everything, right? And,
right. Okay. So they went Mandalorian then. Got it.
A little bit. And so they're. Test and Goon Swarm don't necessarily have a great historical relationship, and Reddit ended up turning against Test Alliance in some regard. And a lot of people on Reddit started complaining about Test Alliance not fighting goons, and it was a really childish and dramatic just bit of back and forth drama through the whole circumstance. But basically, everyone that ended up living in the North, including Pandemic Legion and their allies, Pandemic Horde and their allies, a group called Northern Coalition, and a bunch of other groups, when goons came up and deployed to a system called Hakonnen, we banded together, and anytime the goons tried to break out of Hakonnen, we just basically stomped them into the ground.
Good.
Yep. And that lasted another couple of weeks. And until goons finally kind of got upset, or not maybe not upset, but maybe like they weren't making any headway. And in addition to not making any headway, Test all of a sudden deployed home. So they pulled out. They weren't going to be Mandalorian shooting at us or causing like additional chaos. And the reason Test deployed home was because of some very complicated, almost World War I-esque diplomatic agreements being broken. That
who
essentially,
I want to know who shot Archduke Ferdinand.
So who's the Gavrilo Princip of EVE Online? Is that really? I think holy buckets, GigX is the Gavrilo Princip of EVE Online, because they're both Serbian. So this works out. This analogy works out way better than I thought it initially would.
That's beautiful. All right. History for the win.
Okay. So essentially, the South, and then what's called Space South in EVE, regions like Esoteria and Impasse and Faithfulness, or however you pronounce it, they're inhabited by Test Alliance, and then we're inhabited by another alliance called Circle of Two. There are a couple of other alliances down there. Between those two alliances, we're the anchor of a coalition called the Legacy Coalition. And Circle of Two and another alliance called FCON, Fidelis Constans, for a variety of reasons, started kind of going at it and started fighting. Test had an agreement with the Russians, again, not making this up, and this like World War One analogy,
It's
like,
going
like
places.
is actually going places to protect FCON if a group called Triumvirate attacked FCON, and Triumvirate did, but they brought in Circle of Two, which was in Test's coalition. It was a diplomatic nightmare.
Cluster F.
Right? Yeah, like a cluster bomb of epic proportions. And gosh, yeah. So it basically, like, these various groups made systematic choices, and GigX, the leader of the group called Circle of Two, diplomacy was never GigX's strong strength.
Right.
GigX. You can say a lot of things about GigX, but he, like, you know, I think a quote either attributed or misattributed to him recently was like, treaties are just a bunch of words. They don't matter.
Well, they are
right?
technically.
Yeah.
You know, you need to stand by those words or get your thumb blown out of everything.
Right. But Circle of Two ended up siding with their friends at the moment, Triumvirate, and ended up attacking FCON and then getting kicked out of the Legacy Coalition, and then basically being at a bit of a war with Test Alliance. So Test Alliance withdrew to the south. That was on fire. They went to attend to that. A couple of days later, Goon Swarm was like, holy buckets, the south is on fire. We're going to go home and see what happens while this situation unfolds. So that left us alone in the north to kind of watch this unfold. And it had been kind of a back and forth between Test Alliance and Circle of Two for a good couple of weeks, maybe up to a month, where earlier this week, the war ended, and the war ended suddenly and decisively with basically the destruction of Circle of Two in one of the greatest heists in all of EVE Online.
Did you guys please tell me you nuked it from orbit? There's the only, or it was nuked from orbit. The only way.
No. This is better. They didn't nuke it from orbit. They stole it from orbit.
They stole it.
It's like Ocean 1700.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a little bit more background that will need to lay out about this, about some of the personnel within Circle of Two. So there's GigX, who I mentioned.
Right.
The leader was the leader of Circle of Two. There's a man who was his head diplomat called the Judge. And he's a member of an organization called Council of Stellar Management, which I've talked about before on the show. That's the elected body of I think it's 10 players now that kind of sign a non-disclosure agreement and are
it's like
a conduit
parliament stuff.
Well, yeah, and they're like, the developers use them as like a conduit to the community for feedback and that sort of stuff. And so the Judge is a member of this group. There is a member of Goon Swarm. I'm going to butcher his name because I've only ever read it and not actually heard it pronounced. I think it's Aerith or Aerith or Arith, Ayarth. I don't know how you pronounce that, but there's this, we'll call him Arth, right? So he's a member of CSM, and he's kind of a goon's goon, and has, in his EVE persona, embraced kind of the villainy of Goon Swarm, and that's his public persona, and he's loved among goons but hated outside
amongst other people.
Yeah, you would consider him an internet troll, I think, in some circles.
Right.
And then there's another Goon Swarm representative called Innominate, who is less trolly, but he's like an elder statesman who's just played the game for over a decade, right? So primarily Arth, by all accounts, twice a year, the members of CSM go to Iceland, where CCP, the developer of EVE, is headquartered. That's where they live and make the game. They're an Icelandic company. And Arth ended up persuading the Judge from the Circle of Two. I guess the phrase you would say would be to go rogue or to switch sides. And
Wow.
the judge had multiple reasons for this that he stated in his own Reddit thread.
Right.
And is like the judge reasoning, his reasoning was that he had put a lot of time and energy into Circle of Two, and
Right.
that his leader, Gigax, was just throwing it all away in like, you know, by not regarding diplomatic agreements and by being like this tough guy, like I'm going to shoot everyone and not worry about relationships that we've built, right?
This
whether
is
or
getting
not,
a little too close to real life.
no,
It really is.
It really absolutely is. So the judge I mean that's no one can really know the judge's motives for why he did what he did, and that's kind of what he's publicly said, and some people have called him into question on that. But regardless of the motives, earlier in the week, what the judge ended up doing, kind of the plan was devised that the judge would basically strip all of Circle of Two's assets and liquid in-game currency ISK. So if you think of AIE, it would be like a rogue director taking everything from all of the guild banks and all of the guild cash.
It's like
guild gold.
Randy going rogue and taking and robbing us blind.
Exactly, just stealing everything, right? So it would be a little bit like that, except worse. just because like our guild banks are sort of a community, like a pot that gets tossed in, and Eve wallets and Eve assets aren't like that. They're meant to be used for like alliance asset, like for either emergency purposes or to replace lost ships.
Right.
There was apparently what's called a dreadnought cache that the judge took, which are like basically a cache of giant capital ships that were being used as replacements for some that were lost. It was a massive theft, but that alone isn't really the most notable part, because he also started, so like the structures that you dock your spaceship in Eve are controlled by your alliance. They're not controlled. It would be like Orgrimmar, like, you know, in World of Warcraft, or like a guild house in Final Fantasy is a better analogy, but we'll say Orgrimmar is like your safe spot in WoW, right? It would be like if Orgrimmar was controlled by AIE, and it would be like if Randy said, you as a member of AIE can no longer enter Orgrimmar or Dalaran, right? I have locked you out. You can't dock into the station anymore. So all of the stations that Circle of Two owned, the judge locked out his members from them and then transferred them to Test Alliance Please Ignore, except for Circle of Two's absolute biggest structure, which is called a Keep Star. Now, Circle of Two has had a Keep Star before in a system called MTAC OE, and they lost it. Pandemic Legion and friends ended up destroying that Keep Star, which is a fantastically expensive object, more expensive than Titans in EVE Online, worth maybe about 3 Titans to build one of these Keep Stars. And so they had their first one destroyed in the north when they were kicked out, and their second one was this Keep Star here. It was where they lived. It was their pride and joy. It was the power of Circle of Two, because they were a big, powerful alliance. Not everyone has these. And the judge, a little bit of, if we remember back to a year ago, this is a little tidbit. Circle of Two used to be a member of a group called the CFC, or the Imperium, which was the coalition led by Goonswarm, right?
Right.
During the war where Goonswarm lost their home in the north a year ago, Circle of Two, at a pivotal moment, said, we're not compatible with the Imperium, we're leaving. And a lot of people, the overwhelming majority of people in Goonswarm, viewed that as a betrayal, a very deep and dark betrayal. And the Mittani, the leader of Goonswarm, kind of, there's a lot of chest beating at Eve, got on the internet and did a chest beating speech where he said, one of our first things is we will destroy Circle of Two so that they are no longer a concern, right? So, in a bit of poetic justice, the judge, and this is why it happened fittingly enough and like in a sad way enough, it happened on September the 11th, which is a sad day in America because of September the 11th, but it's also a sad day specifically in Eve because of the Benghazi tragedy. And some of you might remember that one of the victims of the Benghazi embassy 5 years ago was a man named Sean Smith, Vile Rat, who was Goon Swarm's head diplomat. So it's always sort of a sad day in EVE Online. And the 11th of this year was Judgment Day for Circle of Two. He took their keep star, he locked everyone out, and he sold it to Goon Swarm in one of the biggest and most epic heists in all of EVE Online.
Yep.
It doesn't end there.
No.
This is crazy.
So the leader of Circle of Two gets some frantic texts from the remaining leadership of Circle of Two saying, oh my God, the judge has done these terrible things and is destroying our alliance. Please log in. So GigX logs in. He had been sleeping in Serbia. It was sleeping time.
Right.
And he starts typing in Alliance chat, and he says some things that like they're not particularly profane, but they're particularly disturbing. Like he basically asks his alliance mates, hey, does anyone know where this guy lives? And then makes a death threat or so, right?
Oh my God.
Right. And so now there's
that gets you on lists.
Yeah. You should never make a death threat to another human being or threaten in
or
real
try
life
to dox
violence
them or
to another human being. That's really terrible. A lot of members in the EVE community are kind of like, yeah, that's real terrible. I get, sure, people say things in moments of heated passion, and normally nothing happens of it, especially if it's just meant for your alliance mates. Unfortunately, the judge was still in the alliance on multiple characters and was live streaming alliance chat on Twitch, where everyone who was watching saw the death threats.
Right.
As I'm sure, like a form of protection too. I mean,
yeah,
it's what you do.
So needless to say, the judge is no longer allowed to play EVE Online. He has been permanently banned by CCP.
The judge was?
Wait, the judge?
No,
was?
not the judge. I'm sorry, GigX.
Okay.
GigX.
Okay. Makes more sense.
Yeah, the judge is fine. He didn't issue any death threats.
GigX,
on the other hand.
He played CYAs, but he did.
Right.
No.
GigX.
The judge played the game.
Yeah.
Then GigX then made IRL threats, and that's so he has been permanently banned. And Circle of Two is one of the largest alliances in the game, is basically no more.
Yeah. Up in smoke.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's what's been going on at EVE, guys.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's really, really fascinating. So I was very bummed that we've kept coming to postpone that you coming on the show, but the fact that we postponed you coming on the show,
it worked out. It was
exactly
brilliant. I'm sorry. I mean, this is really brilliant. And amazing, and makes me suddenly feel better about real life politics, if that's even possible.
Yeah. That's the amazing thing about this game, is that none of this, all that he's been talking about for the last 20 minutes, that's all players.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Like, there are lots of changes to the game that happen all the time in the in-game universe, and to me and to some people that's their thing, and they love following that and being like in-game characters and role players, and I could care less about any of that because it's these stories that make EVE. And it's this sort of drama and madness that is just so wonderful to kind of witness. It's probably less than wonderful if you're a part of it and in it.
Right.
But looking on the inside, certainly it is kind of a marvel to behold.
Yeah. No, it's when the players are able to make the content it makes it that much more personal and that much more interesting.
It really makes me wonder if like CCP has just been recording this all this time, and then sometime in the future, maybe the game for some reason goes away, then they just go ahead and release it as this epic either book or movie or TV series.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, this is a plug that I don't know the guy, and actually we might have interviewed him when Cap Stable was a little bit more active. There's this book by a guy named Andrew Gruen called The Empires of Eve, and it is basically the oral histories of Eve in book form, the events of the players for like the first 5 years of the game, I think right up until about 2009, recorded in like this really great book, Empires of Eve. If you're interested in these sorts of stories and this sort of human drama, like definitely check it out and definitely read it.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So there's other stuff going on in Eve, but like, I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's a new expansion coming out October 24th that's completely going to redo like Moon Goo balance and probably like lead to like all sorts of conflict over resources.
When the new expansion is not your lead story, I mean, that's freaking amazing.
Yeah. They're getting rid of captain's quarters. So there was a little feature where you could dock at a station and undock from your spaceship and run around in like your little dude.
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything except it was like real neat to look at. And the company was like, we're not doing anything with that. So they're getting rid of it. That's like, but yeah, like compared to the story, that's it.
So that's nothing.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess the only other thing, if this intrigues you, and if you wanna get in on this, AIEU is absolutely always recruiting. Communist Tuesdays are something that we do, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to detail why it's Communist Tuesday, but that's every Tuesday night. Space communism is a thing in AIEU.
This is way too real life political, my friend.
Maybe it is. We have propaganda too.
You do know that I'm a financial crimes investigator, and I'm about to start investigating all of you, right? You know this?
Yep.
Okay, really?
Yep.
Oh, this game is just one long chain of financial crimes.
Really,
Yeah,
I'm filing a suspicious activity report on the goons. That's it. That's what I'm doing tomorrow at work.
No.
If you tried to watch Plex trading, good lord, forget.
Oh my gosh, it's even worse than we have to deal with Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, I think that's it. I think that's
cool.
that's where we'll leave it for the week. I don't think I can top it.
That was the Cliff Notes version too.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, there are in Hoots' show notes. If you want links to go see all of this and relive the drama, it's all up. He's got links to all the major points and everything like that. So yeah, they're worth a read. I read some of them and I was like, oh my god, this is a rat hole you could just go down for hours.
Awesome. Well, that is our show for tonight. Well, the chat room begins suggesting titles, and there's a lot of stuff to choose from there, guys. We want to thank Hoots so much for joining us. This has been absolutely fascinating. Now, if anyone wants to find you, where are you available?
You can find me probably on Twitter at AIE Hoots is the easiest way to get a hold of me. Just at me on Twitter and I'll follow you and you can send me a DM.
Awesome.
He also hangs out. There is an Eve Embassy channel in the AIE Discord.
Yep.
Feel free to visit there. If they like you and you pass first inspection, you may get invited to the other AIE Eve Discord.
And by that, you only need to fill out the Umami application.
Right, exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
no
really,
big deal.
Yep.
All right. And if you have a question or comment about the show, you can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org. You can follow us on Twitter as well. The show is at AIE Podcast. Mew is at The Mew Cow. McCullough is at Cyberwave. And Tatsemi, me, is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us on our website, aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream, and our Discord server for chat is bit.ly/AIE AIE Podcast Discord. Their theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website, keyswithsoul.com.
And this is where we would normally play any AIE member segments that we've received. Since we don't have any, we just want to remind you that go ahead and send them in to podcast@aie-guild.org, and we'll put them here at the end of the show.
Awesome. And next time, we'll be talking to someone about something. I'm trying to wrangle people around. And remember, if you ever want to come on the show and ramble about fun, geeky projects or what you're doing, let us know, because it does not have to be solely game directors and people that are talking only about a game that AIE plays in. We always want to know what our members are interested in and what they're doing. So until next time, AIE, this is Makala.
This is Tetsemi.
This is Yukao.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Yay.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, and these show titles are just
Yeah,
pouring
you're
in.
gonna have you're gonna have a tough time with this.
I am really partial to Dude, Where's My Keep Star?
I know.
Like, we shouldn't really name our own show, but that one's great.
That one-
I know.
Yeah.
Because that's what it
all
was.
of them
It's
are
like,
really
dude,
good.
where's my keep star?
Yep.
Oh, I like Tibbers though. Eve, it's complicated.
Really,
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 that's-
really.
that's-
And they're all like really amazing titles. Every single
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah, no, they're all good.
Yeah. Oh, and just scrolling back, I know it's completely past showtime. DJ wanted to remind us that Northern Coalition really, really wants to be known as Northern Coalition Dot. So
Yes, that's their. Absolutely. Yep.
So, yeah. All right. So what do we have? Zimmerman letter reemerges, adding dread to the judge. Twitch live stream expose. The Reddit war of words. I think that's redundant. Randy really isn't that bad. And give a hoot, don't pollute internet space.
Guys, you are on fire. Kevin was on
know.
fire with these titles. I mean, honestly.
I'm going to include them all in the show notes just so everyone can see
They're
them.
all that good.
Mhm.
Yes.
So what do you think, Hoots? Which one you want to go with?
I know we shouldn't name the own show, but really, Dude, Where's My Keep Star was
Okay.
that. As soon as I said that, I was like, that's a show title, isn't it?
You know what?
Yeah.
No. You can pander to yourself sometimes. It's fine. And we're talking about Eve, so everything's not on the level anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like I was trying to think like a better way of explaining it to the WoW players. Is like, imagine if your mounts actually were something that the guild lets you share.
Yeah, right.
And your characters even were something that you just picked up from the guild.
That's
Like
a good
your
way
whole
of
character,
it. Yeah.
like your leveled character, the one that you've leveled and gotten the gear for, is
Yeah.
technically owned by the guild, and
your
the guild
gear,
lets.
your class, all
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then someone walked up one day and said, "Nope, this is gone now." And you log in, and you're just sitting there in your pants, your underpants. Going,
Yeah,
like, okay,
exactly.
what, now what?
What happened? Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, with that, I think we're right at the top of the hour. We can go watch Game of. Oh wait.
Oh,
no,
that's
Good
for
watch.
another like year and a half.
It's time to go watch Orville.
I know. There you
And
go.
doesn't
All right.
Fear the Walking Dead start this week?
I think so.
I have no idea. I don't watch TV. The kid and I are.
And I think the new.
No, I'm right with
episode-
you. I don't watch TV either, so I
Yeah,
have no idea.
like literally,
I think-
the kid and I's plans are we're gonna probably chain pull some Clone Wars tonight because I don't have games, so I have rear night off.
I'm pretty sure
Does it say either
Outlander
that or
started up.
Starter on-
Outlander was
doesn't
last
say-
week, I think,
Okay.
Yeah.
because the very
I
pretty
think
lady
the
with a really
new-
hard to pronounce name was on all the talk shows last week.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the new Star Trek show starts next week. I want to say.
But
like
you have to
next
get
Sunday.
you have to get CBS, don't you? The CBS access
Oh,
thing.
CBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
the
did hear
CBS
about
streaming
that.
service. Yeah, but I think it'll be available for free the next day. I don't remember.
No,
how
they're
they-
doing it's
It's
only on
Only
their
on the access.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
They're
it's good, I'll throw money at it.
Yeah.
but I guess-
exactly.
I guess I'll wait until like someone else bites that bullet for me.
Until then, Orville
Okay,
is
it's
really
next
good.
week.
Yeah.
Category says Star Trek Discovery is next week, and I'm
Okay.
assuming first one is free, just like a drug.
Yep.
Right,
The first
yeah.
one is airing on the CBS channel.
Well, see, that's silly.
Okay.
Why would they bother showing it on the CBS channel at all?
The first one only.
The first one, just to
Well,
get
still,
you hooked.
why would they tease people like that? That's
Because it's a
mean.
drug. It's a drug. They're trying.
I
Also,
know.
let's think about this, like the world that we live in, where broadcasting it on the television is now the less important
Right.
medium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it's like,
like
wait, is
that's
it-
interesting. Huh.
I know. Is it showing on Netflix? Is it on Hulu? What? It's on broadcast TV? Who would put it on broadcast TV? Come on.
Right.
You know? So, all right.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
awesome chat room. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to cut the stream.